The last time I saw my brother, we were yelling. I never imagined that would be our final conversation. When he died in what was called a hunting accident, something inside me refused to believe it. My brother, cautious to a fault, didn't make careless mistakes, not in the woods, not with a rifle. But grief has a way of silencing doubt, until the day of his funeral. As the final handful of dirt was thrown over his coffin, my phone buzzed. It was a message from his number. They lied. "Meet me at the old cabin tonight." I froze. My parents were already walking away, their faces too composed. My uncle avoided my eyes. And I remembered. The old cabin was our childhood hideout, a place only we knew, where secrets were kept and blood oaths made. If he was alive, why fake his death? If he wasn't? Who sent the message? What follows is a journey into a past I thought I understood. In the search for truth, I'll uncover betrayals buried deeper than any grave. And I'll find out just how far some people will go to erase the ones who know too much. This is a story about lies, legacy, and the terrifying cost of surviving your own family. Before you hear the rest, tell me, have you ever felt a moment split you open? A moment so wrong, so surreal, that the air itself changed weight? Tell me in the comments if you've ever been in a place where you knew something wasn't right, even when everyone around you swore it was. Because that's exactly how it started. The day we buried my brother. I remember the church bells, how they didn't sound real, more like a recording, too perfect, too cold. I remember the flowers, fake sweet, suffocating, and the way my mother stood, ramrod straight, like she wasn't attending her son's funeral but posing for a painting. People whispered around me. They said things like, "Such a tragedy," and "He was so young," and "What a horrible accident." But I couldn't hear any of it, because all I could think was, no, not like this, not him. Liam was cautious. He was precise. He didn't trip in the woods. He didn't shoot himself cleaning a rifle. He didn't wander off without telling someone where he was going. That was our code since we were kids. Always say where you're going. Always cover each other. Always come back. But there I was, standing beside a casket with my brother inside it. Or what they told me was him, and all I had were questions no one would answer. I stood at the edge of the grave while dirt thudded down like it was trying to erase him for good. I didn't cry. Not because I didn't want to, but because I couldn't. I was watching faces instead. My father's, too blank. My uncle Rob's, twitching at the corner of his mouth like he was holding something in. And my mother? She didn't look once at the coffin. Then my phone buzzed. I didn't even think to silence it. It was instinct. I pulled it out of my pocket, thumbed the screen without looking, needing something to ground me. It was a message from Liam's number. They lied. "Meet me at the old cabin tonight. Don't trust them." The world tilted. I dropped the phone. No one noticed. I picked it up with shaking hands, heart pounding so hard I could barely breathe. I checked the message again. It was still there. No attachments, no follow-up. Just that one sentence, like a hand reaching out from the grave. I didn't believe in ghosts, but I believed in Liam, and no one else knew about the cabin. Not even our parents. It was deep in the woods, a tiny, crumbling shack near the edge of the lake we used to fish in. We found it when we were 12. We made it our hideout, our packed place. We kept everything there, notebooks, little knives, promises. It was ours. So either Liam had faked his death, or someone else wanted me to think he had. And both options terrified me. I didn't say anything at the reception. I played the role. I hugged people. I smiled when they said, "You're being so strong." I watched my family closely. I asked questions about the investigation, but no one gave real answers. An accident. Nothing suspicious. It was just a tragedy. But I saw the way Uncle Rob stiffened when I mentioned the rifle. I saw the flicker in my mother's eyes when I said I was going to stay at Liam's place that night. They didn't ask why. They didn't offer to come. And that was all the confirmation I needed. So that night, just past 11, I packed a flashlight, a knife, and the small compass Liam had given me when we were kids, the one he carved our initials into. I slipped out of the house, careful not to wake anyone. The streets were cold, wind biting, but the woods were worse. Too quiet, like they were waiting. It took an hour to hike there. The path hadn't changed much, though the trees felt taller, hungrier. My breath fogged in front of me. Every step felt like I was walking toward a truth I wasn't ready to hear. The cabin appeared like it always did, half swallowed by moss and memory. I stepped inside. It was dark, musty. My flashlight caught dust in the air, floating like ghosts. The floor creaked. My heart hammered. Then I saw it. A note pinned to the wall with Liam's hunting knife. "You're not safe. Don't trust the funeral." Behind me, a branch cracked. Someone else was out there. You ever get the feeling that the walls are listening? Because in that moment, standing in the old cabin with that note in my hand, I swear the air changed. Like it had teeth, like the silence had a pulse. I didn't move at first. I didn't even breathe. The note was shaking in my hand, not from wind. There was no wind in that room. But from me. From the kind of fear that doesn't scream. It whispers, "Run." The message was short, scribbled in Liam's handwriting, or something close to it. "You're not safe. Don't trust the funeral." What did that even mean? Not to trust a funeral? The casket? The service? The people? Behind me, another sound. Closer this time. A footstep in the brush, maybe 20 feet from the door. I switched off the flashlight, held my breath. Every instinct I had told me not to run. Running makes noise. Running gets you chased. I slid the knife from the wall and backed up until I hit the far corner, where the smell of rot was strongest. My heart was thudding so loud I was sure they'd hear it. Then a voice. Soft. Almost playful. "Should have stayed home." I recognized it. Uncle Rob. What the hell was he doing here? I crouched low, quiet, listening as his boots crunched on the porch. He opened the door like he'd been there 1,000 times. Didn't even hesitate. Stepped right inside and clicked on his own flashlight, scanning the walls. He looked angry, but not surprised. Like he knew the note would be here. Like he put it there himself. He muttered to himself, "Stupid kid. We gave you a clean way out." And that's when the questions started snowballing in my head. "We gave you... clean way out of what?" I stayed in the shadows, trying not to breathe, watching his every move. He crossed the room to the note, yanked it down, and crumpled it in his fist. Then he whispered something I'll never forget. "Should have burned it all when we had the chance." And he left. Just like that. No search. No call out. No, "Where are you?" He didn't expect anyone to be there. He thought he was cleaning up loose ends. When his footsteps faded, I collapsed. Not from exhaustion. From panic. Uncle Rob had never been close to Liam. They clashed over everything, guns, politics, money. But he was family. The kind who grills you ribs in the summer and sends you weird survival books for Christmas. And now he was sneaking into our cabin like a hitman from a bad movie, erasing messages that warned me about the funeral. What was this? A fake death? A murder? A cover-up? I stayed hidden another half hour, just to be sure. When I finally stepped outside, the woods were deadly quiet again. My compass was cold in my pocket. It used to make me feel safe. Now it felt like a relic of a childhood that had never really existed. I didn't go home. I couldn't. Instead, I went to Liam's old place. It was still locked up, untouched. But I had his spare key, hidden under a cracked pot on the back step. My hands trembled as I opened the door. Everything was the same inside. The same. His boots by the door, his coat on the chair, half a coffee bag on the counter. Like he was planning to come back. I dropped into his desk chair and booted up his computer. No password. Liam was careless with things he didn't think anyone wanted. But maybe he wanted me to find what he left behind. At first, there was nothing. Just files. Music. A half-finished letter to someone named Jay. Then I checked his downloads folder. And there it was. A video. Dated 3 days before his death. I clicked play. The screen was dark at first. Then it flickered, showing Liam's face in the dim light of this very room. He looked terrified, sweaty, eyes darting like he was expecting someone to burst through the door at any second. His voice was hoarse. "If you're seeing this, they know I found out. About the land, about the cabin, about the trust fund. It wasn't supposed to be me, it was supposed to be Dad, but they came for me first." He paused, looked down, then back at the camera. "I think Mom knows. I think Uncle Rob's involved. There's something buried in the cabin, something that proves it all. If I don't make it back, dig. And don't trust the funeral. The screen went black. I sat there, hands frozen over the mouse, buried in the cabin, the one I just left. And then it hit me. When we were kids, we buried something there. Something we swore never to touch. A box. Locked. Rusty. I hadn't thought about it in years. But now, it might be the only thing that could explain all this. So I did the only thing I could. I grabbed a shovel from Liam's shed, and I went back. You ever try digging at midnight? It's not like in the movies. The ground doesn't give. The cold makes the handle slip in your hands. And every sound, the scrape of metal, the shift of leaves, your own breath, feels loud enough to wake the dead. I dug like someone chasing oxygen. Like there was something down there that could save me. Maybe it wasn't rational. Maybe it was just grief reshaping itself into obsession. But Liam said to dig, and that was enough. Back then, we called it the blood box. It was a dumb childhood thing. We'd watched some war movie and decided we needed a time capsule for secrets. Stuff we swore never to tell anyone. I remember pricking our fingers with a needle we stole from Mom's sewing kit, smearing our blood on the lid like it meant something. We buried it behind the cabin, under a crooked tree that looked like it was reaching for the sky. That tree was still there, but it had grown. Its roots had spread like claws over the soil, trying to hold on to whatever lay underneath. I almost laughed. Even nature was trying to keep it hidden. I dug for 20 minutes before I hit it. A dull thunk. Metal against metal. I dropped to my knees and started pulling dirt away with my hands, scraping my fingers raw. And there it was, the old lockbox. Rusty, dented, but real. I pried it open with the tip of Liam's hunting knife. Inside were things that made my stomach flip. First, the photo. A printout. Low quality, grainy. But I knew what I was looking at. Our backyard, a bonfire, 4 figures around it. 2 I couldn't make out. But the other 2, clear as day, were my mother and Uncle Rob. And in the fire, stacks of paper, folders, one of them labeled Falcon Trust, Assets Primary Beneficiary. I didn't even know what that meant yet, but my mother had told me the family had no inheritance left, that everything went to legal fees, that Liam and I were lucky we didn't owe money. Liam must have found out it was a lie. Under the photo was a USB drive, no label, no note, and then a letter, folded neatly, written in Liam's handwriting. If you're reading this, then I didn't make it out. Maybe I was stupid. Maybe I trusted someone I shouldn't have. But you always saw through people better than me. I left the real files with someone I trust, Jay. She's probably in danger now, too. Go to her. Protect her. And please, don't let them get away with this. They made me disappear. Don't let them erase me. I sat there in the dirt, wind biting my face, tears drying before they even formed. This wasn't just a family secret. It was a damn conspiracy. They buried Liam to bury the truth, and I was holding the proof. I should have run right then, left the woods, driven straight to the cops, to the press, to someone. But I didn't. Because I heard it again. Footsteps, multiple. Voices, low and clipped. They were back. I shoved the box into my backpack, kicked dirt over the hole, and crept around the cabin. My breath was shallow, ears tuned to every sound. Then I saw them. 3 figures, flashlights, 2 men, 1 woman, and one of them was my mother. She was whispering to the others. He's not at home. I checked. We need to find it before he does. Before he does. Me. That's when I realized. They knew. They knew I was digging. They knew I was close. And worst of all, she wasn't even trying to hide it anymore. The woman who used to read me bedtime stories, who cried when I scraped my knees, who held me the day Liam died. She was out here in the woods, hunting me down like prey. And her voice, it wasn't panicked. It was cold, focused. Like this was just cleanup. Like she'd done it before. I turned and ran. No light, just instinct. Branches slashed my arms, roots tried to trip me, but I ran. Because I knew one thing for sure now. My brother didn't die in an accident. And if I stayed still, I'd be next. Do you ever wonder how many lies your family tells, just to keep you from seeing them clearly? because by the time I made it back to my car, clothes torn, face scratched raw from branches, I wasn't sure if I had a mother anymore, or just a woman who raised me out of convenience. I drove. I don't even remember how far, how fast. I only remember gripping the steering wheel so hard it left bruises. The USB drive burned in my pocket like it was radioactive, but I didn't stop to plug it in. I needed a name first, a direction. Jay Liam said he trusted her, and that meant I had to find her before they did. I started with the obvious, his messages. I still had access to his email, another thing he never protected. I scrolled through months of nothing, shipping confirmations, newsletters, job stuff. Then I saw it. A folder called Personal Do Not Open. Yeah, right. Inside were 3 emails all sent to the same address, junewalkermusic@gmail.com. That was my first clue. Music. I remembered now, vaguely, Liam used to hang out at this tiny open mic cafe near the lake. He said it helped him think. Said there was this girl who sang with a voice like smoke and glass. Her name was June. I didn't hesitate. I drove straight to the cafe. It was nearly 3 a.m. by then, closed and dark, but I knocked anyway, because what else do you do when the world you knew is falling apart? A light flicked on upstairs. Then a face appeared in the window. Sleepy, confused, then suddenly alert. She recognized me. Minutes later, she was letting me in through the side door, barefoot in a hoodie, gripping a baseball bat like she was ready to use it. "Where's Liam?" she asked. Her voice cracked, and I broke. "He's gone," I said, "but he left something for you." I showed her the note. The USB. She didn't cry, didn't collapse. Just nodded once and led me to the back, where she plugged the drive into her laptop. We watched in silence. It was all there. Scanned documents, bank transfers, signed affidavits. Pages and pages detailing something called the Falcon Trust, a multi-million-dollar fund created decades ago by our grandfather for future generations. It was supposed to go to Liam and me, but the paperwork had been falsified, the signatures forged, the assets liquidated and funneled into offshore accounts, redirected through shell companies tied to Uncle Rob. My mother's name was on the authorization papers. June scrolled through it all, her fingers trembling. "Liam found this," she whispered. "He came to me because he didn't know who else to trust. He said if anything happened to him, I had to make sure you knew." I asked her why he never went to the police. She looked at me then. Really looked. "He was going to, but he got scared. Said your mom had friends in the department. Said she threatened to have him committed if he kept chasing ghosts." I laughed, bitter. "She called him paranoid. She called him dangerous," June corrected. "Said he needed help." I felt something crack inside me. That night after the funeral, when she made me tea, when she hugged me so tightly I could barely breathe, I thought it was love. Now I realized she was checking to see if I was going to be a problem too. June handed me a worn backpack. "He left this here, said not to open it unless he didn't come back." Inside were 2 things, a burner phone with only 1 contact, and a notebook. It was full of maps, dates, phrases like meeting, Elk Trail Lot C, 7 p.m. was followed, and Mom lied about Dad's death, dig deeper. But it was the last page that hit the hardest. Liam had written, "If you're reading this, I'm already erased. But maybe you're the one who gets out." I looked at June. "I have to finish this." She didn't argue. She just asked, "What do you need?" I told her, everything. Copies of the files, time to figure out the next move, and a safe place to hide. She led me to the basement. Small, dusty, but secure. I barely slept. My head wouldn't stop spinning. What had started as grief was now rage, and fear, and guilt. I could have stopped this. I could have listened sooner, but I didn't. And now they were looking for me. At dawn, I woke up to June shaking me. "They were here," she whispered. "Your mom, 2 men, asking about Liam, about you." I froze. She pressed a small slip of paper into my hand, a printout, security footage from a nearby shop. It showed my mother standing across the street, looking straight into the cafe window. You ever look at someone you once loved and realize they've been rehearsing your betrayal for years? That's what it felt like seeing her in that security footage. My mother, calm, composed, eyes like glass, watching the cafe from across the street, like she already knew what I'd found, like she was waiting for the right moment to strike. I didn't run. I recorded. Every file on that USB, June and I backed it up, organized it, time-stamped it. We turned Liam's chaos into a case. Emails, transfers, medical records, threats, the whole damn web. And then I made a decision Liam never got the chance to. I went public. I uploaded a video, not on my account. I used a burner profile, masked voice, no face, just truth. I told the story. How Liam never trusted the official story of our father's death. How he discovered the Falcon Trust was still active. How my mother and Uncle Rob forged papers, erased evidence, and staged a quiet coup over the family legacy. How Liam was silenced, either killed or forced into hiding. And how the people responsible were still free, still rich, still smiling in sympathy at a funeral they orchestrated. The internet did what it does best. It tore them apart. The story exploded. Hashtags, forums, true crime channels. People started digging into the trust records, into my mother's real estate holdings, into the officers who signed Liam's accident report. And then someone found something no one expected. An old case file. Marked confidential. Related to a body found near Elk Trail. Badly decomposed with no ID. The description matched Liam, but the autopsy was incomplete. The report vanished after 2 weeks. Buried in bureaucracy. They never intended for a body to be found. That part wasn't supposed to happen, but it did, and it broke everything open. A month later, Uncle Rob was arrested. Wire fraud, forgery, embezzlement. My mother wasn't far behind. They denied everything, called me unstable, accused June of fabricating documents. But the evidence spoke louder. The media kept calling it the Falcon Trust scandal. They turned it into a morality play. The prodigal son, the grieving family, a house of lies torn down by one final act of truth. But that's not what it was. It was a revenge story. Mine. Liam's. Yours, maybe. Because I know I'm not the only one who's been lied to by the people who were supposed to protect them. Tell me, have you ever uncovered a truth your family tried to bury? Have you ever had to choose between silence and justice? Tell me in the comments. Don't hold back. Someone out there needs to hear your story, just like I needed to hear Liam's. As for me, I stood at the edge of that same grave months later. Only this time, with a name on the stone. Liam. No lies. No polished eulogy. Just a simple engraving beneath his name. He was right. And beside it, I left something. The compass. The one he gave me as kids. The one that brought me back to the cabin, through the lies, through the dark. It points true north again. Because now so do I. And I.